What if I told you that a song you've been jamming to for years was actually made by someone from one of your favorite bands, and you had no idea? That's exactly what happened to me with Scars on Broadway, and today I'm diving into their brand new album, Addicted to the Violence. But first, let me tell you about my weird journey with this band that started with a PlayStation 2 and Guitar Hero 5. Back in the early 2000s, I was a big fan of System of a Down. They're probably my favorite band from that alternative metal scene of the early 2000s. I remember they released 2 albums around 2006 called Hypnotized and Mesmerized, but then I had forgotten about the band. Fast forward a few years later, I had a PlayStation 2 and I bought Guitar Hero 5. One of the songs was a Scars on Broadway song called They Say. Here's a clip of that. I used to play it all the time, but I never made the connection. I never realized it was the same person from System of a Down. So many years later, I discovered who they were. I remember their last album called Dictator, which I listened to when I came out. So I've been a fan of this band ever since. They only have 3 albums, but I like them a lot. So I was able to listen to this new album called Addicted to the Violence, and I like it. It's very political. It's almost like System of a Down, but without Surge. That's kind of what I thought about it. It's just very fast and angry, and I'm going to talk about all the songs. I'll get into that, but then afterwards I'll talk about my final thoughts and score. The album has 10 songs. The first song is called Killing Spree. This was released as a lead single, so here is a clip of that. The song just takes off with some heavy guitar riffs and a lot of energy. It almost has a little bit of a punk rock feel in addition to the heavy metal sound and almost thrashy guitar riffs. There's also this thick bass guitar sound and powerful drums. It also gets pretty heavy. There's one point where you hear blast beats and this black metal guitar sound, but it's very short. Then the song transitions to more of that traditional 2000 style guitar riffs. The song is pretty similar to System of a Down, but then by the end it gets pretty crazy where they just go full speed with hardcore style guitars. The next song is called Satan Hussein, and you could tell by the song title it's very political. The music is very System of a Down sounding because it has that bouncy rhythm, and they start playing those staccato style guitar riffs where Daron just spits out the vocals in short blasts. Then during the verses, they go into that traditional heavy metal style that's also almost in a punk rock type of rhythm. It also has backing vocals, but they're more like gang vocals. And they add some flavor with some keyboards, so it's actually a pretty good song. The third track is called Done Me Wrong. This one has more of those heavy riffs that are repetitive throughout the verses. I like this one. It has more of that Middle Eastern sound. It has some melody, but it's still very heavy, and there are also some weird organs in the background. But you can hear them if you listen closely as they're mixed very low. He gets a little experimental on this one because there's some type of keyboard solo. I'm not really sure what it is, but it sounds very psychedelic and trippy. But they stick it in there and they mix it in with all those heavy guitars. After this is a song called The Shame Game. It's probably the most different sounding track in the album so far because the first 3 songs sounded like something that could have been on a typical System of a Down album. But this one was different. It was more of that gothic post-punk with some distinct clean guitar tone, and it has a darker tone, and Daron sings in a softer style. But it has that dark tone. It's very gothic sounding, but at the same time, it's also very melodic. There are parts of the song that actually sound like the Foo Fighters, so it kind of has an alternative rock sound as well. The lyrics are hard to interpret because they're kind of minimalistic, but I think it's one of the better songs because it stands out for it being different. Then towards the end, they play some of these trippy keyboards, so that's pretty cool. I think that's the main difference between this band and System of a Down. There's a lot of psychedelic keyboards on here. It's also one of the longest songs at just over 5 minutes. There's going to be one song later that's a little longer, but most of the other songs are in the 3 to 4 minute range. Now I'm at the middle of the album. The next one is called Destroy the Power. This was also released as a single, so let me play a clip of it. This one's pretty cool. They're bringing back a heavier sound again. It has that hard driving bass guitar intro with heavy chugging riffs, and it's another one that sounds like it could have been a System of a Down song because the lyrics are very political, and it has those repetitive choruses when he says, "We take the power and we can destroy you." The song only has one vocalist, who is Daron Malakian, but he does two different vocal styles, so it's almost like there are two different people singing, so that's pretty cool. Moving on to the second half of the album, there's a song called Your Lives Burn, which is a short song. It's just under 2 minutes. It's just very heavy, fast, angry, lots of energy. It kind of sounds like one of those punk rock types of songs with a signature alternative metal sounds. The next song is called Imposter. It's pretty cool. It's very heavy. It has that bass guitar intro with those distorted guitar riffs in the intro. Then they hit you with some of those repetitive guitar riffs, and Daron Malakian is singing in a more melodic style. But it's another very energetic song with powerful drums. It also sounds pretty melodic. It's a catchy type of song, and they have some funky guitars that are added in the mix, so I like that. The album has a lot of experimentation. The song also has some of those Middle Eastern flavorings, and I like that a lot because it has its heavy moments, but it also has some funky moments and almost going into 311 territory at some parts in the song. The next song is called You Destroy You. It's one that's a little different. It has a rock sound. I don't know how to explain it. Something along the lines of Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, if you can think of that type of music. It almost sounds like something you would hear in a Tarantino film. I guess that's how I could describe it, but it's pretty cool. It's a little more laid back. They're playing some different instruments. I checked the press release, and supposedly they're playing a piano, mandolin, and bass guitar in this. So that's how they're getting all these different sounds. The penultimate song is called Watch That Girl, and it's pretty cool. It's slow building. It's a very heavy metal sounding type of song with lots of distorted guitars and slow building drums. It also sounds like alternative rock, almost like the Foo Fighters again, but I guess that's what I got from it. Afterwards, the song picks up and goes into some full punk rock with just some energetic guitars and the drums and angry vocals, so that's pretty cool. The last song is called Addicted to the Violence, or the title track, and if you remember before I said there was one song that was the longest song, well, this is it, clocking in at about 5.5 minutes. It's pretty cool. It's a slow building song with some arpeggiated guitars and some trippy keyboards in the intro, so it's almost kind of psychedelic. I guess you can call it a power ballad because it follows that soft verse followed by heavy guitar riff format. It has cool melodies and almost sounds like the recorder that was used in Stairway to Heaven, and they also have some acoustic guitars, so that's pretty cool. Then towards the middle of the song, it shifts, kind of goes into this alternative rock or new wave type of direction, but then the song returns back to the main melody. But I like the song. It's a good way to end the album. So enough of my final thoughts. I thought it was pretty good. I don't really have any negative comments. I think there are times when he's trying to recapture that old System of a Down sound, which I like, but I'm glad the whole album doesn't sound like that. There are times when he just does his own thing, so I like the fact that there are a lot of different variety on the album, and I like it because I don't think we'll ever get another System of a Down album, at least at this point in time, I don't think so. The last time we heard of them was 5 years ago when they released 2 standalone singles. But other than that, this will be the next best thing between this and the solo albums by Serj Tankian that come out every few years. You can kind of get your System of a Down fix if you're a big fan of them. But otherwise, not exactly like that. I like it a lot. My score is 8 out of 10. I think it's a solid album. Let me know what you think in the comment section. In the meantime, thanks for watching. I'll direct you to my most recent review, one of the solo albums by Serj Tankian. That would be a good video to direct you to. Thanks for watching. Please give the video a like. It helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Please subscribe if you have not already. I do rock and metal reviews, rankings, and more. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.